Welcome everyone back to another RGL Invite Highlander match. This time we are watching Impostors versus Burger Squad over on Product. I'm Flair, joined with me on casting is Zagron, as always Dolphin on production. Zag, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I had a long day of work. I'm going to sit down here, watch some TF2. We got a bit of a mid-table matchup for you guys, mid-low table, if you will. We got Burger Squad versus Imposters. Both these teams, they are unfortunately the bottom two teams that are still alive in terms of match points. Burger Squad's actually in the unique space of having a 2-1 record, but negative match points. So we'll have to see what they can do for that one. Negative point differential, rather. And then Imposters 1-2 record, trying to get some stake back into the season. Both these teams are going to be wanting to contest for a fourth seed, but they're going to have to start with a good match here tonight on Product.
Yeah, absolutely. And Impostors, of course, being my team, and going to be a little awkward, but most interesting to me is that Impostors basically starting out with a fresh combo, and this is something that hasn't been really talked about much outside, but it's really quite a huge adjustment because I was playing demo for them for the longest time, but then moving over to a new demo man, Brandon. People know him as an advanced player primarily, so having him move up is going to be kind of interesting to see. Meanwhile, on the side of Burger Squad, it is mostly kind of a pretty standard Chalk roster. Still have Chalk on heavy, still have KJ, so they're stable as far as what we've seen from them from last season. So I think we can kind of expect a lot of a similar performance, but Imposters coming into this match going to be a lot more unpredictable and kind of difficult to see what they come up with.
Yeah, both these squads have so far this season taken down the now defunct super handsome talented team. Those guys called it quits, I think a week ago, so they are now gone. Burger Squad also faced off against Mindnet Graph as a war crime in week 1 and took that win as well. So that's where the extra win comes from. Imposters have not faced them yet. Imposters have had the misfortune of taking a loss to KND early, so that they got that one out of the way. But yeah, now they're going to be looking to take this win against Burger Squad. We can run down the rosters real quick as we do have a lot of people in the server quite early. Nice surprise for Islander match. On the Burger Squad roster, I'll take that one. We got BMPD on Scout, Telly on Soldier, Charizard on Pyro, KJR on Demo Man, Chalk on Heavy, Grin on Engineer, TJ on Medic, Poseidon on Sniper, and Jeebus on Spy.
And over on Imposters, we have Bonesaw on Scout, Wise on Soldier, Inquisition on Pyro, Brandon on Demo, Rue on Heavy, Starfruit 66 on Engineer, Michael PC1 on Sniper, Zoomzy on Medic, and Dave on Spy.
Yeah, and we do have product here as the map, so we're gonna look at these matchups, the class matchups. We're gonna look at. I want to look at Michael PC1 versus Poseidon. Obviously, Michael PC1 been a bit of a rising sniper talent in the league. A lot of people definitely have respect for him now. And Poseidon, he's a bit of a veteran player. May not have hit the peaks that Michael PC is looking to hit this season, but should be experienced enough to try and deal with him here.
And honestly, just coming from a demo man player, coming onto product, I'm looking on the demo man matchup. So Brandon versus KJR. KJ is known for being quite a heavy DM demo. He hits a lot of shots, not much of a talker, but when he's coming in, he really puts the damage through. So you're going to see a lot of definitely a high octane performance from him. It's really just a question of how well Brandon manages to keep up, or whether or not Brandon's trying to play this a little slower, a little more cautiously, maybe just a little smarter. So definitely going to have to see how that plays out too.
Another thing I want to look at, it's going to be kind of interesting, is to see how Rue plays this, because if I know Rue, he likes playing flank heavy, and when your heavy's in connector, it adds a lot of a different feel to your combo. Your demo man can take more heals in pocket, your pyro now has to take over the job of spy checking for that spy where a cliff heavy normally will. So if we do see Rue kind of edge towards that concrete side of the map, it's going to be a bit of a different look from Imposters.
Yeah, I'm not gonna throw any spoilers in there, just to throw that in. But it's definitely gonna be some interesting thing to see Rue what he does, because he's definitely one of those players that really likes playing a highly aggressive heavy, just walking forward as much as he can, doing something a little different. While Chalk definitely plays this pretty standard. It's my experience with Chalk, he just loves to walk across Dogbred as soon as he can. So one heavy just walks Dogbred, the other just walks flank. We'll have to see how that
They don't
goes,
see each
but
other the entire
they're
match.
never gonna find each other the whole
Zero
time.
KP on each other.
So it's just gonna be a total pretty funny to watch. But I don't know. As far as what I'm looking forward to watching, honestly, it's scouts here, because Bonesaw, having more experience with scouts. Sorry, with imposters. I know Bonesaw's got some good peaks and he communicates well as well. But I think BMPD, Private Dancer, is kind of the better scout on paper. He puts out more damage, kind of just a better shot hitter, kind of just better at the class mechanically. And I'm thinking on product, that's really going to make the difference here, because I don't personally have a very great expectations for being able to outsmart your opponent on product. I think it's just a bit too DM heavy of a map. And I think because of that, and kind of rushing the segments a little bit, but I'm kind of giving Burger Squad the edge on this map just because it's such a DM heavy map. And there's not much you can do to get around that.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how the scouts play that one. I did scrim against imposters actually with a pug scrim team. I think Saturday it was, and what I noticed from playing against them is they play very. I don't want to say passive, but they really will just not commit over the point unless they absolutely want to as a team. You'll notice Bonesaw and Wise sticking to their concrete area, just trying to waddle around, do some damage, get some poke down, and then Michael PC1 really opens up the field for them to get space and walk forward, as well as Rue. So we'll have to see if Burger Squad's DM advantage that you do give them here. I wouldn't know them that much because I haven't played against them personally or like seen their matches yet. But if you do give them the DM advantage, we'll have to see if they're able to take over imposters more standard or passive holds.
The thing they're really going to have to watch out for is if they want to take that DM fight, they're really going to have to be careful of walking into Michael PC's one sight line. Michael, known for being a fairly, just sit and hold an angle type kind of sniper. So, you're not going to see any super aggressive angles, super aggressive shots going for the wide peaks and stuff like that. But as long as imposters just manage to sit on Michael and try to keep him alive, you might see him be able to shut down any aggression that Burger Squad comes out from and really neutralize the DM advantage. But that's going to be quite the win condition for imposters to kind of hedge their bets on. So we'll just have to see how they play around that. And of course, we always have the possibility of Poseidon just completely shutting down Michael. So
Yeah, we'll have to see on that one because if there's one thing I know against playing imposters, it's that they do spy check for Michael very heavily, especially Inquisition. He will chase the spy a bit too much to my liking. Some people who know me know that I like to complain about him in scrims, but it's just how he plays the game. If that's what they're comfortable with, spy checking for Michael, it's a similar carry sniper comp or carry sniper formation that you'll run. And if Rue isn't playing with the team, then he kind of does have to take over that role, as well as Starfruit rather on NG. They will be doing a lot of that shoot in the corners. So Jeebus gonna have his work cut out for him. I haven't seen him play spy in the invite yet, so I'm gonna like to see what he does here coming into this match, his first casted match, I do believe. So hopefully he can get some big plays, big moments. Dolphin can catch those as always.
yeah, Jeebus has been a spy player for quite a long time, coming through UGC Silver, then into RGL, main through advanced. Definitely not a stranger to the class, but definitely kind of his first times playing this season, especially coming into invite and really playing against some of the big boys. So we'll have to interesting to see how he plays out. He's a very aggressive spy, going for a lot of decloaks. Very much loves to go for the combo. So yeah, like you said, Inquisition gonna have his work cut out for him. Michael really gonna need to be babied a little bit here on product, but if they manage to just shut them down, I'm thinking Imposter's still gonna have a hard time with this match.
Yeah. Something else I noticed while we're on the topic of spies in that pug stream that I played is that Dave plays gun spy on this map, which is interesting for a number of reasons. It's not like evil gun spy where you go behind, wait for your team to push, and do a lot of cleanup damage, do a lot of distraction in the backline. He kind of plays with his flank with a revolver and a dead ringer, sometimes an invis but he kind of just plays with his flank, which is somewhat strange in the current meta of spy, but at the same time it's not unheard of. If you can hit your revolver shots, you'll definitely be doing damage and being effective. It's just when you lack the comms on the enemy team's pushes and lack confident information on their snipers rotations, sometimes that could hurt. But again, Michael, we're giving him the upper hand, so that might not end up mattering too much.
Yeah, it really does come down to that. But as far as the spy on the flank with the gun theory goes, I mean, you and I both know that damage from the revolver, whether it's the ambi or stock, it's nothing to sneeze at. It's comparable to a scout at certain ranges. You could really take that fight. So, it's like if your spy is hitting that shots, it's basically like adding a second scout to your flank, and he just comes forward, takes those fights. If you're flanking, if you open up a lot of space for flank, you might see Wise, for instance, just get a lot more opportunity to bomb in, just play behind them, really threaten Burger Squad's combo. But it's all kind of all up in the air at this point. It's just a lot of speculation, so we'll just have to see how that plays out. It does look like there are 8 players on the side of Impostors and 9 on the side of Burger Squad, so hopefully they get their 9th back on Imposter and we'll be able to see the game starting soon. But any predictions score-wise for this match, Sagron?
We got the chat predictions on first here. We got imposters at 3.17, Burger Squad at 2.42 rather. So a bit of an advantage here for imposters from the chat. You mentioned you're favoring Burger Squad. I genuinely don't know because I haven't seen Burger Squad play at all. I know imposters and I know how they play. It's all gonna be to me about if Burger Squad really just can't out DM them hard enough that they just dismantle their setup.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
gonna predict that does happen barely though. I'd say 4-3. I'll get
Or
it
3
close.
Burger Squad? Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of I'm playing a I've got insider trading knowledge, so maybe I'm not the not the right person to be casting this stuff, but yeah, it's just given what I've known of the team and especially how they're adjusting, it's kind of difficult for a team to adjust to a totally new combo with a demo and a heavy, especially on a map that relies so strongly on tight combo play like products. So like I'm pretty close on that. I would give it to about a 4-3-4-2 for a Burger Squad, but then because of the imposters effect, as I like to know it, having played on that team, it could go either way. This could legitimately just turn into a 4-0 stomp for imposters too, as long if they just get Michael to pop off and suddenly
Yeah, I'm
they
gonna
get
call
their
it the
shit
Michael
together.
PC1 effect.
The Michael PC1 effect is basically what it can be too. So, yeah, it's like my prediction is either 4-2 Burger Squad or 4-0 imposters, and that's just it's gonna have to be the way it is. We have 9 on both teams, and it looks like Inquisition saying in chat they're ready. So hopefully we'll get this game started right about now.
Yep, just waiting on those ready ups. Seems that we do have the live start, so gotta kill them another minute here. How was your day, Flair?
It's been good, just sitting at home, drinking some water, eating some pizza, playing some video.
All the essential
Life's
activities.
good. Exactly. Life's good. How about you, Zag?
I had a lot of work today. See, I do CS:GO writing as a kind of a side job, main job type thing, and I had 5 pieces all today because there was a massive tournament group stage ending.
Damn, that seems pretty cool. Let's ask about that, but why don't you do TF2 writing? RGL could use someone like you.
It doesn't pay the bills.
Oh no.
I don't know if you noticed, but our game kinda doesn't have that much stock in it from the esports world. It might be surprising, I know, but
oh man, it's like you're blowing my mind here, Zag. I thought this was a $10,000 tournament, and we were like really playing for keeps here, but hopefully we'll be able to get something like that because I don't know, TF2, no game like it, but. Yeah, hopefully we're getting the game started. Ready? Both teams are ready, so here we go. If you guys are just tuning in, once again, this is Impostors versus Burger Squad, and let's kick it off with this first mid-fight.
yeah, we're gonna see Impostors on the blue side, Burger Squad on the red side. Roll out here first, looks like red demo. KJR is here a lot faster than Brandon, gonna be throwing out that spam. Both soldiers jumping into connector doing damage. Wise popped up Telly as well. Damage traded as the combos now arrive in their entirety. First kill goes to the heavy on a mini sentry, so no one actually going down yet. It's a very slow mid-fight for Highlander standards. As first bomb comes in, Toomsy gonna drop to the cleaver right away. That's a medic going down, and Burger Squad collapsing on this as a whole. BMPD getting 3 kills in cleanup. Starfruit, Inquisition, and Wise all going down. And off that cleaver initial kill on an enemy medic, we do see the first mid-fight go to Burger Squad.
That was really difficult for Impostors. They showed up, but they just weren't getting the same damage out. Both teams are kind of hiding behind their rock trading spam, not really looking to peek, but Impostors just weren't getting the same damage that KJ was. And so, the cleaver came out and got the kill, but it was really just that pipe spam and the sticky spam coming out from KJ that set that up. Double
here's the
bomb coming in
Impostors
from Impostors. No damage dealt at all on top of TJ, but here comes Dave in the back trying to revolver TJ down, but no damage coming in again either. Oh, barely hits that one revolver shot, but it's just the force isn't coming out. There is a snipe back on a Charizard though, but Michael's getting hunted down by Telly over on Cliff, and they don't keep their sniper alive, and Michael goes down yet again. And now they're just going to have to try to take this next push with the Uber when they build up, and they're just not going to be able to force that out.
Yeah,
Wise going back in, though.
With Rue is
Chasing
in on the enemy team. They're going to go for the force again, and it does work. Rue and Wise getting that one out. Going to try to run away with their lives. Don't get out. That's fine. They got the force. 90% for Zoomzy, as they're going to wait for their respawns here. Burger Squad looking to play a bit more aggressive here. People on caution. Dave going in a bit off time. Does manage to escape for now as Poseidon finds that SBS win onto Michael PC. So yet another sniper ad for Burger Squad to work with. They are very far forward on this point with that.
Yeah, and you can see Impostors kind of just grouping up behind the house. It's a little difficult for them to take forward ground because they're going to have to walk up through into the sightline through Valley instead of being able to kind of use Cliff as cover. But here they come in with their Uber, using it on Scout and Demo. Bonesaw trying to chase out the kills. But they're not able to secure too many kills. Only Charizard going down. And Brandon not finding the damage either. They push them back a little bit, and Burger Squad's forced away. But even off the cap, Inquisition now going down in the back. 5 down on the side of Impostors. They get the cap, but at what cost? Unfortunately, just without securing kills on that Uber, they just didn't really get much off of it.
They didn't get any kills there. They didn't get any space is the more important part. We saw them Uber onto point. Like you said, the only kill they found was onto the enemy Pyro, and that's fine. That's his job to stop that Uber. Burger Squad was just chilling in their pocket, you know, behind Rock, waiting for their heals to come back up and the enemy Uber to end. And they did get that damage in and retook the point immediately. Just no ground gain for the Impostors. A quick 13-second cap and it goes right back over.
And here comes Wise again trying to bomb him. Drops
drop.
TJ with Brandon coming in. So Rue's walking forward on the left side, just trying to chat across that point. Does get Telly. And now they're just forward. They're going to need to tank their heavy on point. Zoomsy coming in to back Rue up again. And Starfruit's trying to edge his cap. There's only 3 up on the side of Burger Squad. And Poseidon's still coming in, but he does get stabbed by Dave. And now the point is opened up, but there's no one quite here yet to capture the point for Impostors. But Inquisition does come back in, so they're finally able to secure this point. And now they're sitting on Uber. They're just going to have to settle into another hole.
Yeah, their spawns are faster here, and they will be moving forward. Got that medic, Zoomsy 100% Uber, looking to play on Dogbread with the rest of his team right now. Looks like that's going to be the standard hold we're seeing here. Burger Squad rolling out kind of cliffside here. They're going for a sack of their own, trying to find that force into Zoomsy. Going to surf it out all the way through main, and the kills get cleaned up, and he gets the pack. So that's all well and good for the Impostors.
It was a little dangerous from Zoomsy dropping down to low health, and that could have gone worse because Jeebus actually came in on the back line and almost picked that kill up. Oh, Jeebus, actually Zero seems to be subbing in right now. But Zero's came in and just, you know, picked up the, nearly got the stab, just whiffed it. And no one was turned around looking for him, so that could have gone a lot worse. But now we can see the setup. Just a basic pocket hold over here. Brandon a little forwards, spamming that out. Zero coming on the side.
Dave just decloaked the second too early and he couldn't find the enemy demo pick. We're going to see Burger Squad dropping that into pocket here. Only 80% Uber as Michael PC1 finds that snipe onto Poseidon. With that sniper advantage, they're going to have to hold forward on the point here. Trying to chase down kills is Bonesaw. Michael does go down as well, so sniper advantage is neutralized as both heavies end up getting traded. Fights going on the point as both medics now have Uber. Who's going to be the first to pop as there are players dropping on both sides? It's Burger Squad running forward with a scout demo man Uber counter in from Impostors, going to be running forward, getting these kills. They're trying to find anything. They flash Wise, but they just can't find anything. Burger Squad have 9 players alive off that, and they're going to be taking point here.
It seems to me like Impostors just have too many people in the fight at the same time. They can't afford to put the heals out and focus the heals on one person at a time. They just end up, you know, all eating the same damage, all eating the same spam, and then what happens is then, you know, they're not able to get healed up. They're too hurt to repush, and then there goes Burger Squad just walking in. Poseidon getting the pick off on Inquisition, and Wise coming back in does actually get the damage onto TJ, and Brandon gets the kill, but Impostors still 4 down, so, you know, they're going to have to play this pretty carefully. Even though they have this medic coming in, Brandon's solo forward only with Michael on the side, and Brandon's getting chased out by the scout and the NG0 coming in to clean up as well, but Michael's alone on cliff now. He's not going to be able to walk forward, and he does get chased out. No point pressure on that last push, unfortunately, for the Impostors, and that starts us off with 1-0 for Burger Squad.
I really hate that target focusing by Wise at the end there, because if there's one thing that you need to learn in TF2, it's that in overtime desperation fights, the one pick that really doesn't matter is the enemy medic. You need to do AoE damage, you need to take down the opposing damage classes to give your team that advantage. A medic pick doesn't matter if you don't have any other damage elsewhere, because they can just walk in the point and deny you. Either way, we are into the new mid. Both demos exchanging spam again on yet another Michael PC1 getting stabbed as well as Rue. Zero finding that chain stab, subbing in, doing work as Burger Squad collapse on the point. There's a bomb in from Telly and players walking across Dogbread. Bonesaw goes down as well, and that will be another mid for Burger Squad. Both meds do stay alive this time.
It was just really unfortunate, collapsing, losing their sniper and heavy right off the bat on that mid-fight. Impostors just kind of had to back off right away, but going off of that, you know, as far as medic picks on really just any map goes, it takes a while for you to be able to feel the effects of a medic dying. It doesn't help in the here and now, which is why, you know, you're saying, you know, you don't want to do that in clutch moments like overtime, because it takes a while for the buffs to fade, for the damage to matter, and for your own heals to come back up for you to play off that medic advantage. Brandon taking the Uber in solo right now, just kind of sticky jumping in, does force their Uber out finally, and they do manage to pick off Charizard, but they're going to have to back up a little bit. KJ coming in with the counter pop. Are they going to look for kills in the back? But Telly's coming in for the bomb, almost getting Zoomsy so far. Zoomsy actually getting the counter kill, and now Wise is in trying to fight on point, but he's getting chased out by the Wrangled Mini, and BMPD gets the cleaver kill at close range. So Brandon coming back in with Inquisition. They're just going to try to fight this. Nice pipes from Brandon, getting the kills on both Poseidon and BMPD. Now the point capping a little dirty from the side of Impostors, but they do manage to get it.
Yep, Dave found TJ in that exchange as well at the very end. That's when you want to get that medic pick, when it matters for the later fights. We're going to see Zoomzy with a 60% advantage coming in here for this defense. That's Impostors' first cap of the round. They're down about 45 seconds. They need to keep holding this. They have their sniper primed behind this rock, looking for an angle. Bomb in here from KJR, and there's a zero finding the step onto Zoomzy, so that medic advantage is nullified instantly. Rue and Bonesaw find the trade kills on the bombers, but we're going to have to see if Burger Squad, what they want to do here with this heal advantage. They're likely going to wait for their numbers and start to push. Looks like Impostors are trying to get a bit aggressive to make up for this deficit. They do find Grin and BMPD, so that's going to stall the counter push.
That was really rough for Impostors. Right as that bomb and the spy sack came in, Rue was still playing on the flank. He was deep inside connector. He didn't even have eyes on the bomb, and so they just walked in without anyone really there to be able to deny.
Here from Wise, he does find 2 rockets. Spy in as well. Dave syncing that with his team, and Bonesaw finding one onto Telly. So a really good counter sack by Impostors to stop that capture. We see Burger Squad just getting a bit too ahead of themselves. Don't actually realize what's going to go on here in the coming moments, as they do lose all of their footing that they just gained. So now Zoomzy with 50%, TJ just spawning up. We're going to have to see what goes on here, as Impostors do get their 3 spawners. They're going to be a bit later to the point, but they should be fine to contest this in a second.
Kind of the saving grace of Impostors so far is the success rate of their sacks. They've been getting TJ consistently when they try to do that, but Brandon did go down in the back line at 0, so now they're playing on demo disadvantage. Impostors are probably not going to be able to hold on to this point, as Rue's the only one fighting. Rue finally there on cliff to deny. Telly just goes
Telly jumps into the route, but you don't want to do that. As you see Burger Squad, they're going to at least walk forward with that. Rue going to back off, the rest of the team following its suit. It's going to be a reset for the side of Impostors. They do have 85%. It's a bit of an advantage over TJ, but likely will not matter in the grand scheme of things. They're going to look to regroup here. They have players up on the China Bridge, going to drop down into the pocket in a second here, and it's all about if they can get up to here without wasting too much of their Uber.
So here they come, walking forward to pocket, taking an Uber in pretty early, as a matter of fact.
First.
They're Ubering directly into the dog bread. That's an interesting trade, but it looks like nothing's really happening through this trade. Chalk does get picked off on the side, trying to get a little cheeky there. And here comes a bomb in from Telly, cleaning up Brandon. Rue's alone now, getting chased out by Grin. Managed to get the kill, but BMPD cleans Rue up in exchange, and now there's only 2 players alive on Impostors, as Zero's chasing Zoomzy all the way back to spawn. Doesn't get the kill, but it's still not a good look for Impostors.
Do me a favor, Imposter, or Phil, you're their coach, right? Can you tell them not to Uber Pyro in at the start of an Uber?
Alright, Steam messaging on them right now.
You kind of need your demo man and your scout to be able to do damage and force enemy flashes. A Pyro is not going to do that, as the Uber is completely successful. Speaking of successful, Poseidon finding that entry snipe onto Zoomzy, railing off more damage. Brandon falling down and going low, taken down by BMPD. Grin and Chalk getting in on the cleanup. A couple of trades, including one to TJ from Dave. Chalk going down, so frags back and forth, but in the end it is Burger Squad with the massive number advantage once again. Zoomzy's left all alone on his respawn timer. Does find Wise to charge on, so they will have a bit of an advantage, but the clock is still ticking in the favor of Burger Squad.
The saving grace is, again, they managed to get TJ, and now they've got the demo pick, so that could work out pretty well for them as they come back into this next fight. But Grin still hiding inside this house. I'm wondering what kind of ideas he's got here. Chasing down Zoomzy over in the mid-fight, does get kind of air blast away by Inquisition, and now they're down 3 on this fight. Telly bombing in again, trying to get the kill. Misses the air shot, but there is a snipe coming out from Poseidon, so Zoomzy is down. There's no medic on the side of Impostors, but they're just crowding onto this point. They're going to try to chase. They should at least chase out as many kills as they can right now. Chalk does go down. TJ as well, so the medic advantage has been neutralized once again, but Impostors are going to have to do this next hold without an Uber, so they're just going to have to make sure they don't give this point up.
It was a good call from Burger Squad to use what players they had forward to try and sack for the medic, but you need to get your own medic out at that case, because TJ went down at the end, 2 Wise, found that pick that at least gives his team a chance, and with that, no team is going to have Uber for a very long time here, probably until the clock starts ticking into overtime. Or they're going to have it a bit sooner. We do see a bit of a dry pressure coming in from Burger Squad, but Michael PC going to find that opening snipe onto KJR. Poseidon responds in kind on a 5k himself. Without a demo, it's kind of hard to get space, but the sniper's going to allow him to walk forward. Telly, once again, bombing into Ruben and pushed back as they are walking across Dogbread. Rebomb in from Telly, trying to find whatever damage he can. Taken very low, but the rest of the team is coming in. Charizard finds one onto Dave, with Brandon responding in kind onto BMPD. There's so many players forward here onto Dogbread, but here's the bomb in from Wise. Gets reflected. Ooh, he's trying to get more rockets off just by the skin of his teeth. He stays alive. It is going to be cleanup, although there's 2 alive. It's 2v2 on the point right now, as Burger Squad are going to win this extended fight and take round 2.
It's just really, really rough for Impostors there. Unfortunately, Michael just not getting the better end of most of these SVSs. I'm not even sure if he's actually gotten a kill off on Poseidon once at all so far. So despite the fact that Michael seemed to be, getting some other key picks, Poseidon just kind of running a trade on him, and Michael sitting at the bottom of the scoreboard right now for Impostors with 14 points. Either they need to help protect him a little more, or he just kind of needs to pick up the game a little bit, because I think it might just be the SVSs that shuts him down. But apart from that as well, Impostors is kind of hiding in pocket, not really kind of exerting a lot of pressure. You saw how much space Chalk got on the side of Darkbread in that very last fight. He just walked all the way up without any denial. Wise actually doing an incredible job this game so far, keeping them up. I know he's had a couple slip-ups, but on that last fight, he was on a 4K and kind of held them on to that to the end of that as much as he could. But unfortunately, just it seems like there's some combo issues going on for Impostors, and they're not going to be able to get back into the game unless they figure out how to get that cleaned up. So
Yeah, we mentioned in pregame that Bonesaw definitely can take Ubers. It's just, I feel like he's not getting as much pressure in. Brandon as well not getting the flashes that he needs. I see Rue in when he shouldn't be. He gets dropped in Ubers because he just shouldn't be where he is. I think it's just his aggressive nature coming in. But if he's dying on the point alone, when your team is taking an Uber on the right side, your life is just wasted. And
it's
it's
really
just a
unfortunate.
lot of combo issues coming in from Impostors. They're trying their best to find avenues into the game, but with Michael PC getting shut down, their combo getting outclassed, it just isn't looking good.
You could see Rue did come back as well for the Cliff strats closer to the end, and it was helping out a little bit because the soldier started getting denied. Telly wasn't able to get as many bombs in, and that really did help keep their medic alive a little bit more. So their performance was better this round compared to the last, but it's still not looking too great for them. So just hopefully they'll be able to clean that up.
Yeah, we do have the stats on the screen here. We can take a quick look at them. Zero getting 15 kills on Spy, doing a very good job in this game, only getting outfragged by KJR. Speaking of KJR, 500 DPM. Brandon's barely edging him out, but he's doing a decent enough job keeping up with that one. Brandon doing good as well. It's just about what happens within the combo fights, because the damage on product, a lot of it you launch over and you just try to clean up off it the best you can with your team. If your team can't get in, then it's just not going to happen, and you're not going to find the kills. And that's been probably one of Impostors' biggest issues. They just can't find the kills when they need them.
Yeah, it's really just a matter of trying to secure that space and secure those frags. Because if you don't manage to do that, then all that damage doesn't really matter too much. A lot of these players can kind of hide in little hidey holes and get arrowed up and just come back in, and again in 2 seconds. So you really want to make sure that you're pushing aggressively as soon as you hear those damage calls, and you're able to really follow up on what your demo's doing. Then yeah, when you don't have a sniper that's dominating the game on product either, that just makes it a lot harder, because then you're not able to shut down these sightlines. You're not able to force their players to hide where you want them to, and then you're not able to do things like slowly edge the cap, or like slowly walk across and try to get deeper and deeper in with your spam. It just makes it a lot more difficult if your combo isn't playing up to snuff on that. But as far as stats lines go, you can see Zero, honorable mention there, Zero is actually going 15-6, not the top fragger, but just behind KJR there. Zero having quite a good game for himself. He's been getting a lot of picks, and I just noticed a lot of those times he's been decloaking the backlines too, just revolving from the back while his combo's pushing very much like an evil style there. And it's just working out really well for his team, because Impostors, also having a lot of issues dealing with Spy right now. So they're definitely getting quite the value out of having Zero on it right now.
Yeah, something I want to point out is that the medic deaths, TJR has actually died one more time than Zoomzy. And when you think that your medics died more, you would think that if not close, then you're probably losing. And when you're up 2-0, when the rounds have been, I don't want to say it's sweeps, but the closest one got was like, what, 40 seconds left for Impostors? And when that happens, you can just I can explain to all the viewers the cycle of what's happening, right? The fights are happening, Impostors can't get ground, they can't get kills, they lose 4, they get the medic, they lose 5. And when that happens, you need to make sure that you can cycle your Ubers in a way that's favorable for you, whether that's keeping your medic alive with a builder, backing up properly, or just forcing the enemy team to back up after you do damage to them. But when you get put on those full respawn cycles and you don't actually get your real advantages from getting a late med pick, then the cycle just continues. It's a vicious cycle where you're going to, again, sack 4 people in, you're going to try and make the push happen, you can't get kills, you're going to maybe kill the medic, and then you're not going to get any space, and they're just going to come back and hold strong.
Yeah, exactly. You need to make sure you get your aggression coming in before those respawn waves come in, especially on offense, because they can, they still have access to a dispenser. They still own all the space that they want, so you need to make sure you press your advantage while you have it. But it does seem like we're waiting a little bit longer than usual for the second half to come in. But Yeah, hopefully. What do you? So, just a quick question on that, Zach. So, what are you looking? If you would change something on imposters right now to try to get them back in the game, what would you single out?
It has to be just player positioning in general. I know that's a big thing where it's like, the entire game is technically positioning, but it's before an Uber and I see Rue on Cliff eating arrows or soaking heals because the soldier's on his head. I see Inquisition with a combo. I see Bonesaw taking sniper damage because he's jumping into an angle. I see Demo Man getting stabbed or piped down. It's just too much for one medic to heal up. They can't really get anything done. As a result, their Ubers are suffering. They're not spread out on the map. They're not finding different angles of attack, and they're just kind of funneling into death over and over.
All right. With that, maybe we'll hopefully see them clean that up and see if that works out. Brandon coming in for this third mid fight now, trading a little bit with KJ, but looks like BMPD actually getting quite a bit of forward ground on the flank, but Poseidon gets the first pick off onto Y, so that flank opens up a little bit for the side of Burger Squad, but KJ also going down on Michael, finding that reverse pick. Rue now playing on Cliff, and Zero's looking to get a pick as he's sitting on Cliff, but they're still fairly passive over here. Telly coming in for a bomb does manage to get the damage out onto Brandon, and Charizard gets the kill across the point, but Chalk walking across point first. Looks like with all the damage trading out here, they just couldn't find any kills again on the side of Imposters, and just the longer they went.
Passiveness is haunting them. They got the pick onto the enemy demo immediately, and the first person to walk on point was the enemy heavy.
Exactly.
Maybe you guys need to walk forward and take some space while you have your advantage to work with. If you're scared of the sniper, maybe someone can do something about it. Spy can try to shoot him. Dave has been using that revolver from the sidelines. Maybe Demo Man can spam him. They just gotta find some way to get onto the point and get aggression. We see Inquisition for they're just gonna solo pop. What is the solo pop? Okay, they're gonna flash Brandon at least, but completely denied. This got nothing. Like, I'm speechless. What
Listen,
is that?
I know you said I've been coaching them, but I haven't really, so I do not take responsibility for this. Bonesaw coming in does get his quick scope, but Poseidon, they're trying to get some ground here.
If only he wasn't on the Uber, maybe he could have done something.
4 down to the side of Burger Squad. Chalk so far forward, just walking across point. Dave whiffing the stab, but does help clean up a little bit. But there are only 4 up on the side of Burger Squad. If they just try to come back in as quickly as they can, they still stand a chance here. Dave in the back seeing what he can get, but still getting hunted down by Charizard. Unfortunately, it just seems like they're not getting any space to work with in this mid-fight, and it's just not working well for them.
Yeah, and we do have the enemy sniper, Poseidon and KJR still standing tall. Poseidon actually hits a headshot but gets ran up by Bonesaw, so that's some good pressure by him. Soldiers on opposing Prize Rockets. Here's Rue walking forward, getting tanked as well. His team is finally walking forward, doing some damage. Bonesaw and Brandon in on it. They're going to take this capture. We're going to see TJ just backing up with his team 80%. Going to get ready to repush. No hurry for them, really. Zero goes down in the downtime. It shouldn't matter too much. Inquisition can need to go find a pack before he gets back with his team. Michael PC won the furthest 4 right now. Going to get headshot taken very low. Does end up surviving, but Dave in.
KJ's in with that Uber.
Yeah, they're going to bomb in with Dome and get that Uber. Force Inquisition is once again running forward in a Pyro Uber. They're going to find at least more pressure this time as Brandon finding some nice damage. He does find, he finds a lot of damage, but Dave trading onto Poseidon. Zero going down by the side of Rue as both demos doing a lot, but it's going to be another rebomb forward from Impostors. Wise finding a cleanup onto KJR, and that will be finally a fight win for them. They're going to get the point, they're going to keep the point rather, and they should get the time ticking back into even shortly, but a repush isn't here.
And Inquisition trying to deny BMPD as much as he can. Telly's so aggressive on Imposter's side of the map, sitting on that pride, but it just seems like those stickies aren't being watched, and Brandon could have had a chance to kill like 2 or 3 people at this point, but BMPD just sitting on that cap, edging that so much. This mini-sentry doing its best to deny this forward aggression, but so far it looks like it's really just Brandon that's doing anything to try to hold them off. No one. Yeah, exactly. 5 people just walking across Dogbread, and there's no one else to deny this. BMPD all the way on Imposter's cliff. Zero coming in from the back, just revolvering people as he may, and unfortunately just no one there to deny that Dogbread aggression, and just they walk across point for free.
They're gonna get run up on behind. There's Dave finding that kill onto TJ, so crucial one for the Impostors. They did lose the point briefly, lost about 30 seconds on that, but with that medic pick and this re-aggression they have in, they should be taking into the advantage perhaps soon. Poseidon is going to respond with the snipe onto Inquisition though, so that Pyro is on a long spawn timer.
It's good for Impostors, at least they do still have this point ticking down, because the time is really what's going to help them out on this one. They're just going to try to lock this down again. Unfortunately, you can see Michael sitting in that pocket, not really too much protection on him still right now, and Zero's still kind of hunting him down.
The
Here comes KJ.
Come in trying to find the medic. He's on cliff. They didn't realize the med's on cliff. No calls for that one. Zumi's going to stay safe. Poseidon finds a 5k, at least onto Michael PC, but with the Demoman and Sniper down, you're going to have a lot of aggression coming in.
Dave finds Poseidon in the back too.
Yep, that's going to be both snipers down for a little bit longer. Zoomzy on 80% Uber, TJ on 60%. So we're going to be waiting a bit longer here as Chalk is walking on point first for with his team.
Burger
KJR
Squad sitting on
backing
a
him
demo
up.
advantage, though. That could make them break the fight right now as they're just coming in, walking off of that artillery.
Yep, but on the other side, Brandon is back in, trying to unload some damage into Chalk, but Chalk is far forward with his team, not even taking a single point of damage. Michael going to find a snipe onto Grim, but the Uber is in here from Impostors. 100% for TJ in reply. They're going to use here, they're going to back up. Looks like they're backing up. KJ going to go off cliff with his demo man. TJ taking BMPD in. Here's the counter Uber. They need to find whatever damage and aggression they can. Scout running into main, going to force the entire enemy team back. Bomb in as well from enemy soldier, trying to find anything, but it is going to be a clean retake for Burger's squad, but they are losing players on the back end.
Yeah, they really need to play flank on the side of Impostors right now. They have a lot of space on that while the Scout and the Soldier are dead, but here comes a snipe onto Rue. Here comes the Demo Man onto Zoomzy, and
they gotta
there
kill KJR.
we go again. They're
They
just not finding the space in the combo. Brandon's walking forward. Solo going to see if he can try to trade out into TJ, but TJ's already out. And now here comes Dave's kind of cloaked in the back. See if he can get onto TJ, trade this out. But they are on the cap after getting 4 kills onto Burger Squad. So Impostors did manage to get the cap, but unfortunately they're going to have to play on Disadvan for this next hold.
It's going to be a bit tight, though, because there's only 15 seconds left and Imposter have to hold. TJ only on 75%. He might not get in time, as he is not really building properly right now. He's finally going to attach with his demo man. Chalk walking on point. It's all going to be onto this defensive sniper. Finds that pick onto Chalk. 0 counts onto Rue, though. There's no heavy for either side. A lot of people on point, but the sticky trap goes big. TJ and Charles are going down. Reflect Pipe from Inquisition, finding the kill onto KJR, as Impostors are going to take their first round here off of that. So a good adaptation for them towards the end of that round. They finally started collapsing together.
Yeah, really the aggression is making the key difference here. As long as they can just walk forward together as a team, they're going to be able to chase these kills down. Because these players, individually, they're no slouches. But right now, a lot of what's going on right now is just kind of a miscommunication and aggression, kind of mispositioning as well. As long as they actually play together and just walk forward, they really stand a good chance here. But here comes this next mid fight. Telly coming in for an aggressive bomb, but does kind of whip the bomb a little bit. But Brandon's down, so that's a demo disadvantage early on for Impostors. Wise sitting pretty hurt in the flank there, but unfortunately he goes down. They are still sitting on sniper advantage too on the side of Impostors, so as long as they just sit around Michael PC1, they might still be able to eke out the picks they need. But unfortunately, yet again, the same issues coming forward as they just cannot find space. They can't walk forward despite having arguably the better classes at that very moment. As long as you can just sit around your sniper, you might still be able to pull it off, but unfortunately just not taking the space, and that mid fight does go in favor of Burger Squad.
Yeah, KJR even went down late in that mid-fight, so they had a late demo advantage to work with, but just not enough for the Impostors to find any space on the point. It's going to be a cap-up for the side of Burger Squad. Both medics do have Uber, so that trade will be coming in shortly, as Burger Squad looking to hold on caution as they've been doing the entire game so far. Zoomzy going to link up with his demo man here, as they're going to look to take this Uber through main. Inquisition trying to walk through, but Poseidon finds that body shot onto Zoomzy through that rock angle. A medic drop comes in. Should be a counter sack from the Impostors trying to see what they can get, but a lot of players going down in the process. Chalk does drop, and the Uber is forced as well, so that is at least a silver lining for Impostors, but they're going to lose every player here to BMPD. 2 players going down at the end, 1 soldier left. It's going to be pretty much a delayed ace.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate for them. They looked like they had an idea coming through an alternative angle instead of coming through cliff, as is standard, but unfortunately it just looks like they didn't have
the says no.
Yeah. Just unfortunately not getting the calls out on what's being watched, where the sniper's, kind of locking down, and it just drops Zoomzy coming in. But they do manage to get that force out, so hopefully they'll be able to take this next fight dry. But Brandon getting forced really far back, he just doesn't have his teammates around him. And Rue finally coming in through main.
Though. KJR and Charles are going
down.
down. Yeah, counter heavy going down, so it's kind of just Chalk and BMPD versus the forces of Brandon Inquisition coming forward here, but the spawns are in favor of Inquisition, or of Impostors, as they're going to try and get forward here. Dave going down at the end. It's now even numbers for both sides, but they have to walk back to point 4 Burger Squad. Neither team has really touched the point here so far. They're trying to get the Strangled Mini down, doing a lot of work from Grin. Space on point is had by Burger Squad, as Zero going to butter knife Rue down, taking a lot of damage. Uber out here from the side of Impostors onto Inquisition, and Brandon going to force the counter onto the enemy Pyro. Charizard doing that, reflecting, and bomb in from KJR, taking a late flash and getting 3 kills. That's how you take an Uber coming in. Great flash there by TJ to get his demo man 3 kills in the process. They're going to look to hunt down what they can here. Zoomzy does make it out with his life, so at least they have that, but Starfruit dropping at the end, only 2 up for the side of Impostors.
What was really disappointing on that last fight was after Impostors managed to get their ground, they sat back and rock over there, and they had, you noted that it was basically only Chalk and BMPD holding the point. Impostors actually had the superior class composition there. They had the demo and the scout sitting next to each other, right next to heals, and they opted not to walk forward and demolish that scout and heavy. Like, that would have been an easy kill as long as they took their aggression in, but unfortunately they just didn't choose to. So it's really just not working out for them. Zero does get the kill into Brandon, so now Imposter not getting this demo man on this last fight. 20 seconds left on the clock. They're trying to edge cap. Bonesaw walking forward, see what he can, but it looks like Burger Squad are happy to give this up. They still have 3 minutes left to repush, so they're happy to give this up as long as they just come back in and try to retake this clean.
Yep, 90% Uber for them. Rue did make his way through connector, so there was not much space for Burger Squad to work with at the end. It's going to be Uber now had for TJ. 95 resumes. He will get in time. Team's trying to decide what they want to do, but Wise goes in and dies a bit off timer, so that's going to be a bit of a deficit for Impostors. The Uber isn't through main here. KJR and BMPD are trying to get some damage, and they do force the counter from Inquisition and Brandon. Low health for TJ right now, but going to surf those explosives out. BMPD and Grin are the casualties, as well as Poseidon in late. Dave with another multi-kill, finding that revolver onto TJ at the end, and Burger Squad have been wiped here. Bomb in, not going to find much. They do at least get Michael PC1, 0 on a 6k of his own.
Yeah, finally a decent Uber coming out from the side of Impostors, as Burger Squad just came in with that Uber. Seemed like they got a little antsy and just walked in hoping they could get kills, but, Impostors actually well prepared on that one, just denied that, kept players alive, had their demo and their scout come in on post and chase kills out, actually walking across the point to do that too, which is, makes all the difference.
Trying to find Zoomsy, he craters at the end. Shock actually finding that minigun file rev onto him just at the very end. Coordinated bomb in from the explosive classes and Spy get the job done for Burger Squad. They're going to walk forward what they have onto point. They do have heals to work with. They got to be careful. They're down a couple of classes. They're trying to get some space here as Rue is walking through connector. This can be dangerous if left alone for too long. He's going to flank around. Going to get seen. He's going to try to get cleaned up here by the soldier, but he's doing a lot of work in the backline, stalling. Takes down Telly as well. Finally going to go down to Poseidon on the back end, and it did stall long enough for Impostors to get their bearings back.
70% on TJ, 90% actually now, so it looks like they're just about ready. They did lose Chalk, and Telly's only just coming back up, so they might choose to delay this push, but they're about ready to start walking forward. BMPD all the way across Dogbread, actually trying to poke. Here comes KJ and BMPD taking that Uber in. No denial Uber ready yet on the side of Impostors as Inquisition goes down to Roller. Zero coming on the back, does get Rue as well, so here we are, 20 seconds soon. Oh, 4 down on the side of Burger Squad as the flank comes in and cleans up post-super, so Wise actually getting quite the better end of that, but Brandon's getting hunted down the side of Telly right now. But, a good hold from Impostors as they backed out, just kited out as much of that Uber as they can, and the flank came in to clean up, so good on Wise and Bonesaw there.
The pick classes got so much work done there for Impostors. Michael PC1 found the snipe onto TJ, and then Dave got a 3k in cleanup there. Very evil-esque getting those kills on the back end. So with that, they're going to have time to reset on this point. We do see Burger Squad going to be walking forward here, forcing this enemy Uber. It's going to be a Bonesaw and an Inquisition Uber getting some damage down, finding the kills onto Charizard, Grin, and Shock. Getting that damage in. Telly is in on the back end, as well as the enemy Scout. It's going to be Poseidon finding the snipe onto Brandon as well. So, Dome Man means you have some space to work with, as we haven't commented on it, but the time is ticked back to even, so the 3-minute deficit's almost made up for. 60% for TJ, he will not have in time. It's all about the frags here.
But there's no healing up on the side of Impostors. They're going to be hurt for this last fight. They really need to back it off. They still have 60 seconds as long as they can get their heals up. But Dave, 2 big picks on the side of Impostors. They managed to get the medic and the scout, and there's only 2 alive on the side of Burger Squad as Poseidon's coming in, trying his best to hold this. Zero going down at the end, so it's finally a wipe as KJ just managing to get out of spawn. Here they finally pull it back.
Dave's on 31 points that round. He did so many multi-kills, so many chain stabs and a revolver chain kills, and with that he buys his team an extra life. It is 2-2 here in the series. We're evened up against all odds, I'd say, after that dominant first half by Burger Squad. Impostors coming back with it. Dave doing his best carry performance we've seen.
Hey, can I just say, statistically, Michael and Dave were the best pick classes last season during the regular season. And I'm very proud of that because I get to brag about the pick classes I had. But definitely, that's kind of what you see, like, most people look forward to from Impostors, is just the strength of these pick classes. Dave, last season had a stellar showing, maybe kind of de-rusting a little bit as he comes into Season 7. But finally, we're getting to see the strength of that. Michael, still a little middling on this scoreboard here, but there's definitely no slouches there either. So 2-0 in the second half. It is now 2-2 again. So bringing it back up, tied again. Hopefully, we'll be able to come into this, final half, and we'll see a tight game. I want to see where these logs pop up and see what we're looking at here.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting game so far. Dave and Poseidon are kind of in a carry war of their own. You see Dave with 20 kills percent on 23, the only players in the game who hit 20 bombs in that half. So both those players performing very well for their respective teams, and it wasn't enough for Burger Squad at that point. They lost too much ground to Dave. It really feels like anytime they were in a position where they could do their aggression, they could walk forward. Dave found key kills in the end to give his team the advantage, and I don't want to put it all in one player, but I will say if not for Dave getting that many kills and that much cleanup, then the game would probably be over at this point.
Really would. And, on the side of Burger Squad, Poseidon's still no slouch either, sitting at 23 to 11 kills to deaths. And, Poseidon getting so many key picks. He managed to get Zoomsy off on that drop earlier that nearly completely crushed the chances of Impostors coming back in. But as long as both teams manage to kind of clean up on these issues, it looks like Impostors finally getting into the swing of aggression and trying to just walk forward a little bit more, play together, just make sure that they're not sitting back behind and eating crap the entire time. Looks like they'll be able to kind of clean this up a little bit. And of course, with a little help and a little miracle from Dave and Michael, they'll be able to pull that off. But on the side of Burger Squad, they're really just going to have to try to focus more on punishing that kind of passivity from Impostors, because we still see it coming out from them too. They're still taking Pyro Ubers preferentially over Scouts. They need to be able to punish that, just kite out the Pyro when that happens, bait them into making more of these mistakes, and obviously just spy checking. As long as they don't let Dave get this kind of stuff happening, and then they're going to be able to try to just slowly edge this out and maybe pull out a 4-2, 4-3. But we'll just have to see how this plays out.
Whereas in the first half, the Devilman's damage output was pretty even. KJR actually heavily outperformed Brandon, a whole 180 more DPM for his team that half. And again, damage stats alone don't mean anything. It's all the context. And the context was they had the damage to win the fights, but in the end, they just couldn't quite finish the fights because of Dave cleaning up their players. So there's just work to be done for both sides. I think if Burger Squad start to control Dave a bit more, Poseidon is just going to keep doing his thing. Just because we haven't seen Michael actually be able to beat him consistently in the SVS. Poseidon has a lot of aggressive positioning, which is made by his team that allows him to get a bunch of picks, including that key drop onto Zoomsy that unfortunately didn't win them the round. So I think it's a pretty easy fix if you're Burger Squad, but Imposters, they need to keep up a lot more of the same, which can be difficult.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just have to see how that plays out, as it looks like both teams have 9 again after Zoomsy had to back out for a little bit. It's just, yeah, the damage numbers is an interesting stat line they're drawing attention to, because you're right that it is pretty much a matter of context, but usually you rarely see teams manage to pull it out when demos are that far behind on damage. And KJ is no slouch. You pointed out when they took that Uber and KJ got that 3K just walking forward and killing stuff. And there's just no analog in terms of sheer aggression and dominance on the side of Imposters, so they are really relying very heavily on their pick classes to do this, and they need to be able to step up to make sure that they're not putting all their eggs into one basket.
I want to know why the imposters decide to Uber in Inquisition on offensive Ubers. Because defensive Ubers, that's fine. You can understand that. Power Air Blast, deny, that's great. But he's getting every single Uber, and he's only at 150 DPM. So he's not making the enemy team flash. He's not finding cleanup. He's not finding damage. Is the goal just to right click the opponents backwards to gain your space? Because that's not really how you're supposed to gain the space. You need to force them to flash and push them back with damage from your Demo Man and Scout. But if that's what they decided they could do, maybe they decided Bonesaw didn't like being in on those Ubers. Maybe they decided that Inquisition was doing a better job than Bonesaw. Maybe they just want Bonesaw to play for late fights on the flank. So whatever it is, I don't think it's been working for them. And their win really just comes from exceptional play from individual players. So we will have to see if they can continue that.
Yeah, I'm just interested in seeing how Rue's finally given up on that flank strat. It seems like he's just been playing Cliff and playing next to combo the entire time. This time, didn't work out for them first half. So maybe they're making adjustments here. I do know that was something they were kind of planning on coming into that match too. I was keeping mum about it pregame, but yeah, they're looks like they're trying to change that up, trying to adjust to the game as it goes. So, it does seem like Imposters is trying to think on their feet, so it could work out for them, but they still have, like you said, and I just have to repeat what you said, Imposters had to clean up a lot more than Burger Squad does. Burger Squad just needs to fix up the deaths of their spy, and everything else being equal, it looks like they'll be able to cinch a pretty easy win here, but Imposters is really gonna have to work on multiple fronts.
Yeah, and we do have all 18 players back in the server waiting on that ready up. Both teams taking their time to decide and talk about what's gone wrong, what they can fix, how they're going to play out this third half. Crucial match points are on the line here. Like I mentioned, both these teams are going to be wanting to try and contest for that late season playoff spot. They're going to believe they can do it. They want to try their best to make it in there. There are some good teams in contention for it, like Refrigerator, but it all starts here. If they can take these final 2 match points without dropping a single extra, then every single round matters, and they want to make sure they can get as many points as possible from this, especially because they're 2 of the weaker teams left.
And playing, against a team like, the two weaker teams playing against each other, they really want to try to nab as many points off as they can, because they can manage to turn this kind of thing into a roll, or just try not to drop too many rounds. They're going to be in a much better position to find their space at the end of this. But unfortunately, with Impostors already facing off against Candy early in the season, it looks like the ability for them to nab some upset points is a little bit. It kind of flew by over there against Candy, so they're going to have to try to make it up really bad against all these other teams late into the season, while Burger Squad's still sitting on 2-1, but they are negative match points, interestingly, so they still have to fight pretty hard for everything they can, too. So, yeah, it's just, a lot riding on every single match for both of these teams the longer this season goes on for them.
Ironically, a 4-3 actually hurts both teams a lot because it just means that barely any match points are exchanged. Not much happens. Then anyone who ahead of them who took a win is just going to skyrocket that much more forward. So both teams, even if they come away with a win, they're probably not going to be happy that they dropped the 2 rounds. They probably think that they could have done it a lot cleaner, done it a lot better, and given them a chance to stay higher on the scoreboard. But that's all in the past now. It's about trying to get salvage as many as you can from this situation.
Yeah, we're still waiting on this. Still waiting on this pause. It looks like players are heading to the bathroom, taking a short break. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't feel like there's much else to comment. We pretty much covered a lot of those bases there, and it's been a back and forth match so far. I don't know. Any personal highlights from the match so far for you, Zag?
I really liked the microplay in Uber of KJR bombing forward, getting a flash, and getting the 3K on the exit, just because it showed good understandings of how Ubers are supposed to work. Where if your demo man can't go in right away, he should be going in right away with his team, but if he's late into the fight or if he gets stalled or air blasted, the ability to come back in, land the stickies, and to get a flash from your medic. A lot of times medics, they tunnel vision on the players who they're Ubering, they tunnel vision on who they want to think they want to go to next, and they don't see the player that's right above them. So that just shows good understanding of how to actually navigate in Ubers for me. On a more individual side, just watching Dave find these cleanup every time, it reminds me of really good spy play when it happens against really good teams. I can't say much about like why it's happening now, but it just looks clean. It looks good from Dave all around.
Yeah, that's good. I'm still hoping for my boy Michael to pop off, because I've always believed in that man, and his peaks all throughout the time Imposter's been an invite. Michael's peaks have been truly insane, and I always hope that he manages to find more consistency, but it's still difficult for Michael to find that, and which is why we talk about the what do you term the Michael PC1 effect. It's just Imposters has always had such inconsistent results all across the seasons, and it's I was hoping that when I stepped back and they pulled up a new combo, they could find a bit more consistency. Growing pains would have happened, obviously, but hopefully that they could grow into it afterwards and figure it out. But even so, it's still rough for them. Have Michael come in, maybe he figures out how to find his confidence, get in his groove consistently, and then really be able to take off. But this is going to be one of those deciding matches where he manages to kind of come back, especially because Poseidon is pretty handily winning the SVS. If Michael can find that, especially if Imposter can really shut down Poseidon, that could really help them come back into this fight.
And we are waiting for the ready up here as people are trying to rejoin, talk about whatever they need to talk about, and get back into the server. We have some updates from around the league, actually, courtesy of chat and of sources. Wax has mentioned that his team, Cuties, has taken the 4-win win over Refrigerators. So that is their first map or round point dropped all season, I do believe. If not, they dropped one before, but I do think that's their first dropped. So they do get the clean win, somewhat clean, 4-1. That'll be nice for them. Probably gonna look to see what went wrong in that one round, because product, I'm not sure how much of an impact this map is gonna have in playoffs, because there are a lot of maps that teams prefer nowadays over just the tried and true product. So whether or not they decide to go back to that one is up in the air. And apparently one of the bigger things we have to note is that league favorites KND are apparently down against Netgraph, which would be probably the biggest upset possible in the season, besides one of these two teams we have now taking a win over KND. So if they can actually pull that off on a map where you have product bore, yeah, we're gonna have to take a look at that one eventually, because I don't know how that happens.
Might have to check the SCV out. Yeah, and getting flashbacks to Season 6, KND dropping and losing 2-0 actually to Burger Squad, known as I Hate Mondays back then. But we are jumping back into our third half, so no more time for that little chit-chat as we come back in. 2-2 right now, in case anyone doesn't remember or anyone needs an update. And we are coming back into this fight. And yeah, coming here, Brandon. Oh, aggressive bomb from Wise, jumping right in, gets totally shut down.
Okay, goodbye, Wise. We do see the mid continuing regardless, but Demoman getting sniped. KJR taken down right before Zero can get the snipe onto Michael. So no Demoman, but no counter sniper coming in. We're gonna see both teams kind of not walking up just yet. Chalk finally gets on point with BMPD, doing some damage, forcing the enemy back into the pocket. But Dave, another chain stab. TJ and Chalk going down. Medic and Heavy no longer available. And that will be Impostors once again winning a mid off of Dave. Counter sack in here from KJR, finds crucial stickies onto Brandon, but they can't find the medic. Now in is the soldier. Scorch shot hit from Inquisition, gonna send Telly flying, and that will be players alive, including their medic right now. Zoomsy's staying up, and the cap. Oh, but Impostors are actually gonna get the cap. They're not walking on point quite yet, as spawners are back from I Hate Mondays. We're going for a second mid fight here.
Yeah, they had really late deaths on the side of Impostors, just do not have their players alive for that fight. But now Inquisition so far forward, just trying to force them back. Dave gets the stab onto Poseidon, does get cleaned off in the back, but this does secure a sniper advantage for Impostors. Here comes the bomb from Telly, doesn't get anything. Zoomsy knocked down to 100 health though, so could have been something, but here comes Zero, just kind of sitting on the cliff there, decloaking, but does get spotted out by Bonesaw, so nothing comes in. KJ also
Your
coming in.
soldier sacked like 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, the soldier came in, and then Zero decloaked on the bridge on Cliff,
yeah,
but completely outside of the fight.
They're not going to get Zoomsy's Uber out at this rate, and we got to give credit to Wise there, because after he got reflected on mid and humiliated, he came back in and got a 3k with the cleanup in the extended mid. So good recovery from him to get some damage and some impact in the round so far. We do see Zoomsy 100% Uber, only 94 TJ. They're setting up on Cliff. They're going to get ready to drop down. KJR is looking to walk forward. There is stickies on the rock here. They do get blown away, so it looks like they know of them. Zero coming in the back line, going to decloak on Ruiz. The Uber's in.
Oh, they drop
stickies
Brandon
onto Brandon. Yeah, he gets dropped instantly by those stickies from KJR. It's a solo Pyro Uber onto Inquisition, and they're not going to find any damage or ground to work with on that one. Getting hurted backwards into the choke. Poseidon finding the SVS went onto Michael PC, not going to find the med pick he was looking for, and that will be a clean fight win for Burger Squad.
So unfortunate, KJ just bombed in and instantly got 300 damage put onto Brandon before Zoomsy could get anything done. And then Zero came in and stabbed Drew in the back, and just there was suddenly no combo alive for Impostors, and they just had to give that up completely. So it's just totally clean execution on the side of Burger Squad to force Impostors out of that. And now here they're gathering back behind that house again, trying to work Michael into a sideline, but Poseidon sitting on that rock. Oh, Michael gets picked off by Zero again. Just unfortunately not. Yeah, just not able to keep their sniper alive. Impostors is going to have a lot of trouble finding the space they need.
Yeah, BMPD trying to walk at the mini sentry doesn't work out too well for him, but Starfruit is going to get traded by Telly in that connect area. Bomb in here from Impostors trying to force the Uber. Air blast from Charizard going to take this soldier out of the way. Demoman doesn't find it either, so TJ going to keep his Uber. Bonesaw in here a bit late, finds one scattered shot. TJ is so low. Bonesaw cannot find the follow-up as TJ stays up. Oh, but Rue walks forward, and TJ walks into the Heavy's line of fire and gets taken out at the end there. Clean up in here from Michael PC, finding Poseidon and Grin as well, but we do see Burger Squad trying to die on the point, find what they can. They did take into the time advantage, but they're going to lose everyone here. Oh, but Zero finding that pick onto Brandon, that's going to be really big for the post, as we're going to see Burger Squad try to come in after this and refight it. Uber is forced as well, so that's good for them.
Yeah, and here comes Bonesaw chasing whatever kills he can. Does try to look for Chalk. Does actually get him just as that Uber fades out, and they are going to be able to take this recap, but they are sitting on 2 minutes left while there's a minute and a half on the side of Burger Squad, so not the best situation for Imposter to be in, but these Ubers are about equal.
What is the solo
difference.
demo man? Okay, at least there's a spy with them, but they don't find anything.
Yeah,
so.
okay.
Why are they sacking though? Because they're even Ubers. They could just try drive pressure with spawn advantage.
And Zero would be calling that out too, say they should know it's pretty much even, but it just seems like maybe a call came through and no one wanted to countercall that or correct it, so yeah. But now you can see Impostors are all sitting on top of Michael. It's really pretty much just going to be on the side of Poseidon to try to get something done here. Zero crossing again, we know he's been pretty good about just hunting Michael down. Holy crap, yeah. And
Either
here
way,
comes decloaking.
Yeah, here's going to come in with his team pressuring, finds Brandon on that, not looking for the spy at all. He gets out again. I don't know how that happens, but it's going to be the rest of Burger Squad collapsing on the point. Players jumping onto Pride Rock, as well as taking point pressure. Without the Demo Man, Impostors are going to back up, going to wait for that respawn from Brandon. Recap in here from the side of Burger Squad. 100% Uber for both medics, as the time is going to tick into even here in this 5th round.
And here they are doing a forward hold onto Dogbread, just trying to spam them up again. Standard here from Burger Squad, as Telly jumps onto Pride, trying to spam Michael off. As long as they just manage to stick on top of their combo and make sure they walk together again. Like this Dogbread hold is okay, but it's not a solid hold. It's not like other holds. Here comes that Uber again, walking forward with Inquisition, just trying to air blast them off. And here, TJ stuck on connector. He got air blasted back into Imposter by Inquisition, and now here comes the double kill. What a gamer as they just walk forward onto point. They need to force these players off of Rock now as Michael gets the snipe onto Chalk. Bonesaw coming in for cleanup kills in the back. And they do manage to find these kills finally as Wise just trying to chase after Zero gets that splash. And there goes a full wipe onto Burger Squad.
I wasn't on Inquisition's POV there because I saw him just chasing down the medic. I thought he was going to go for the flares. I don't know if he actually saw the rocket come in and reflected that off reaction, or it was just a really fortunate timing. But either way, that play is going to buy his team some extra space to work with. A 60% Uber for Zoomzy as Inquisition a bit too far forward, going to get sniped down. Michael PC responds with a headshot onto Chalk, so that attacking heavy. They like to pocket him in, they like to give him heals, and he's not going to be available yet. Dave goes for this cross, Zero goes for this cross every time. It's amazing how he doesn't get caught.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, but without the heavy, looks like Burger Squad are going to try and drop down into pocket, get some pressure on point. Sticky's going to get found out here by PMPD as Dave finds the entry onto Poseidon, so that's a really big excuse me, offensive sniper pick. Bomb in here from
Zoomzy
Kelly,
gets forced by spam on over pretty far forward, and now they're just going to walk forward, try to chase that out. Dave does get the pick on Chalk, but TJ's all the way back on Cliff. It just seems like this Uber, even though it gets a few kills, it doesn't really get anything important. But now Brandon finding big spam onto Cliff. Charizard going down. They're going to have to walk forward with KJ. 98%, 99%. Here comes Wise trying to get the force
no one
on
to
TJ,
clean up damage.
he
It's
gets
just
that
Demo
right
Sniper.
there. It's only Demo Sniper, and Poseidon sitting on Rock. He's getting juggled. Wise actually knocking him around 2 shots. You don't care that he's shiny at all. Poseidon going to crater in the back. Does actually die to Wise. Zoomzy walking forward with Brandon. Going to try to hold this down as Chalk gets denied from walking on a point. Finally,
unironically, the best thing he could have done there is to knock the Ubered sniper out to
legitimately.
Yeah, but you mentioned
funny.
Impostors didn't get anything there on the Uber. They actually got a lot of late cleanup kills and position in ground. So with that, Burger Squad had to take a really long run up to get their Uber, and then they were left with no one to actually walk forward and get the cleanup damage. So with that, Impostors take the 3-2 lead. One more round, and they will take the victory here. Okay, Wise got exploded for a second straight mid and killed. That's fine. He'll be back for the second one. Zero gets stabbed on the Michael PC as well. So really strong opening here for Burger Squad. They're going to walk forward onto point. Inquisition going down as well. And with this, Chalk and KJ are going to walk forward on point. We're going to have to see what comes. Dave dropping onto his medic. Oh no, it's not caught, but TJ turns around just in time, and he saves his own life there as Pyro wasn't looking. But that will be the clean mid for the side of Burger Squad.
It seems like the same thing just keeps happening every single mid. Wise bombs in, gets denied instantly, and then because they're lacking spam through the combo angle across Dogbread, it's just Burger Squad walking right across Dogbread with 5 people and just getting that point for free.
Not gonna work for Wise.
Oh no, Wise. It keeps happening. But yeah, they're going to try to find their space again. Oh, Brandon getting sniped off. Bonesaw getting killed. 5 down now on the side of Impostors. Just not finding what they need. And Zoomzy dangerously close to getting random pipes too.
So they went for a sack there. When they have even Ubers, they could just go for a trade. That's wasted time now as they have to wait for their spawners. They didn't get the force they wanted, so it's going to be 2 minutes on the point yet left for the side of Burger Squad once Impostors can't even think about making their push. They're going to look to regroup on Cliff here. Spy jumping on the rock, trying to find Chalk, but Dave's not going to find that one.
That was such an ambitious
I like it,
too.
Because Chalk is a big forward pressure. He's going to look to fight Bonesaw. Bonesaw wins that one with the help of Michael PC. Uber in here from the side of Impostors. It's going to be Inquisition trying to find Air Blast, but gets taken out in the end. Collapse is in here from BMPD and Telly. Telly finding the 2K onto Zoomzy and Brandon, and that's a total wipe for the side of Burger Squad. Going to take their opponents off of the playfield entirely, and that's going to be a rather clean push with a medic pick to boot. So going to be by the time Zoomzy gets healing, it's about a 20% advantage for the side of Burger Squad. Time ticking 1.5 minutes halfway through.
Yeah, just impossible. Zoomzy goes
Telly.
down again by Telly. Yeah, it's really unfortunate for them because they're just walking.
Well,
Here comes that sack
There's
in.
Brandon.
Nope, Brandon didn't find anything.
Inquisition.
Everyone down. Impostors
but
not
they
getting
lost
anything
too.
again.
That's pretty good for Impostors. It's a 6v6 right now. They do...
Poseidon goes down to Michael too.
Yeah, that's crucial for this repush. Wise going to jump on here. No one to stop him from controlling the Pride Rock area. As we're going to see Michael go down to 0 on the back end. So no sniper for Impostors anymore. It's like Rue and Bonesaw going to try to walk forward here. Brandon coming in as well. Dry pressure in for the side of Impostors. It's 80% for TJ. He's going to look to get here. Going to try and back out. Maybe save KJR. KJR so low, but the reflex from Charizard enough to keep him alive. But what's not enough is Dave dropping down. They kept KJR alive, but TJ got stabbed in response. And we did see Zoomzy die again just now, so he's been on a respawn timer for about a minute straight. But the Impostors do come up with this point. First one of the round, they're going to start taking their time down.
It was just so sloppy. It just seems like every time Impostors try to walk forward, they're doing it all at different times. You can see that Michael is consistently being left alone, either on Cliff or behind on Porch, and there's just no one protecting him. Zero just comes in every single time and gets the kill. No contest whatsoever. And it's just difficult because they're basically playing without a sniper half the time in this game. Here comes Zero decloaking over in main. Doesn't actually get anything, but Poseidon gets the body shot over onto Michael, And now again, Imposter sitting without any pick classes. Dave goes down. There's no point pressure as Brandon needs to get healed up. Everyone's just walking on the point on the side of Burger Squad, and there's no denial whatsoever from Imposter.
The mini
Desperately trying to
is
stay
actually
in.
somewhat decent, but it needs help. Players are going to walk forward, try to deny this. Point's almost capped up for the side of Burger Squad. They're going to find that one as the mini runs out of ammo, so that is their biggest defense down. It's going to be just trying to run here. Does not get out in time. Brandon as well dropping at the end to Tellies. So successful repush for the side of Burger Squad. 30 seconds left on their clock. Both medics are going to be on even Uber here, so this is their chance to equalize this.
Ooh, it's coming down to the wire here as we, Imposter's still leading a match, so this is going to take us into the final match.
The golden cap, the do or die.
the Highlander golden cap. But here they come again.
Golden
Brandon
round.
walking forward with that. Oh, Uber popped, almost dropping Brandon up in the front, but Bonesaw dropping low as well. They do manage to get the trade out, but they're just not finding any space, not threatening to kill anyone behind. It just seems like even with all these Ubers, they're not actually finding what they need. But the MP does go down. KJ a little overextended. 5 health does get picked off over there now. Finally, Telly also trying to spam point.
It's on the
They
heavies
just
in
need
this
to.
post. Both heavies are full HP. Whoever can win
Rue
that
walking forward,
fight.
but Chalk runs out of ammo. He backs off. Can't find
Chalk
the
running
ammo.
out of ammo actually loses them the game. If Chalk didn't run out of ammo at that exact same time, he would have taken down Rue. Rue got left to 1 HP, so that stroke of luck for Impostors is at least going to give them a chance in this match. They're capping up with 2:20 left to go, and they have a long time to hold. It is possible as they have a small Uber advantage to work with, but Burger Squad just need one more cap to win this round.
Sticky's coming out. Get your hold in. Sit on top of your sniper. Make sure Michael stays alive. Impostors can put this hold together for 2 minutes as long as they don't lose anyone right as they do right now. 2 players going down on the flank. Bonesaw and Wise both going down. Now this is all going to be on top of Brandon, Rue, and Michael to make sure that things don't go down. Starfruit as well, so no flank pressure whatsoever on the side of Impostors. KJ just walking across Dogbread. No one to deny him.
Oh, they can't run Brandon. Now they have no one to Uber.
Rue down, Inquisition down, Zoomsy's alone with that Uber. They're just going to cap that. Dave's going to go forward, see if he can do anything, but it's just way too late. And Poseidon cleans him up at the end. And now it's 3-3 golden cap here in this product match.
I was watching the Uber timer for Zoomsy, and to his defense, he didn't have until very late there, but still, your team has to know that. You have to not take all the damage. You have to at least save some players to defend that. Either way, golden round here. Winner of this round takes the match. New mid rolling out. We don't see Wise int immediately, so Michael PC gonna take that SBS win onto Poseidon. Gonna be an advantage for the Imposter to work with Zero as well going down, so no pick classes, as well as KJR going down to Michael PC. That sniper
this is walk
presence
across
is working.
point.
Finally, Imposters are on point first. It's the first time it's happened in 7 rounds, and it's looking great for them. They're getting a bunch of kills all over. Their health is low. They have to be wary, but they are getting the frags they need finally, as well as Michael hitting the fadeaway onto TJ. That is their best mid of the game, and it could be the one to give them the advantage here.
Yeah, definitely, if you just use that as psychological advantage too, just kind of keep that confidence rolling, they could really work that in. Now that they're sitting on full attitude, you can see Zoomsy sitting on Cliff watching out for that that sack coming in. Inquisition also sitting up there. They're expecting it. KJ's ready for it, sitting up on Cliff with Telly. Here it comes. KJ's in, hits the bridge.
Sack is
Telly comes in, hits the bridge as well. No one's in.
Revenge Crits didn't actually get the kill on Telly. KJR going down 0 as well. Sack not very
KJ
successful.
did get Michael, though, so that's a saving grace. Without a sniper, they might try to do this a little dry. Wise comes in with a counter bomb, sees what he can get, does get Poseidon too, so it seems like that sniper
taking
advantage is
advantage
not
of
going
that,
to
though,
be
by
huge.
walking forward, and it was not called that there was forward pressure, so they're going to lose their heavy and get hurt all the way back onto Cliff. So Zoomsy, with this full Uber ad to work with, TJ only at 50%, and they have space on the point as well, so it's looking good for the Imposters. They have a minute off the clock so far, and 40% left until Burger Squad can contest them.
Zag, I don't want to say I'm a biased caster, but I'm a biased caster. you know I want my team to win, but yeah, they come in and
didn't like that one.
Everyone did not like that. Here comes Zero
Another
coming
bomb in,
across
trying
again.
to find the force onto Zoomsy. Gonna get that Uber popped off. It's gonna be Brandon and Inquisition walking forward. There's no one even within range to do damage to. So the Uber's gonna fade. Counter comes out. Brandon left in alone here to dry as well as Inquisition. Shredded by Chalk. Dave does find a consolation pick onto Charizard, but yeah, that Uber was doomed from the start.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate. They stayed way too far in with that Uber too. Once they didn't find that pick, they just need to back off and make sure they kept their players alive so that they could, try to get some ground in dry again instead of needing to give up the point completely, wait for respawn waves. You just give up, like try to keep your sniper alive, sit him in a strong position.
Yeah, you know. Earlier.
Oh, thinking, maybe you're thinking a little too much, Zag. I think that's too much for Invite Highlander. But we're coming in, all grouping up again behind house. But here, again, it just seems like they just stick 5-6 people all together on Imposters, and they never split up and try to cover a lot of ground. You can see Grin and BMP
They're so
all the way
split up right
forward.
now. Bonesaw and Starfruit drop immediately. Dave as well going in without pressure, so they're 3 down immediately on the Imposters. And they have Uber too. You're not supposed to die before an Uber push. You want to keep all your players alive and at least somewhat
Inquisition
healthy.
dies super late there too.
Yeah, and this Uber
Here comes
push is
BMPD
completely
on
stalled.
Michael. Michael dying. They can't keep dropping players. as
Yeah.
Wise again separated, and they're just not gonna be able to. What is the combo doing on
This
grass
is a grass
as they walk
push
out?
or what?
Oh, Rube's
Okay,
eating a
Uber through
sandwich.
main here. Last time this didn't go too well. They do have bone sawing on it for once.
Totally denied. TJ doesn't even have this Uber, but they don't need to pop it. Dave gets caught out too. Wise trying to come in, but he's getting chased out on the side by BMPD and get picked off too. And it's just total collapse on the side of Imposter. They get nothing out of it. TJ does go down though. Michael finds a body shot onto him, and Michael, finally cleaning up a little bit. Chalk's still so far forward, but maybe with that pick, Imposter's going to be able to try to start walking forward a little earlier. And maybe this time, not drop 16,000 players before the push.
It's a fine consolation in the medic pick, but I saw Bones on the Uber and he rushed Concrete for a sniper instead of dealing damage to the combo, so maybe you keep Ubering Inquisition after all. Either way, we are going to see the run out here. Zoomzy have 30% advantage to work with as Impostors are walking forward, trying to get some point presence. Starfruit and Dave dropping in the process. Bomb forward from Wise, going to get
big damage onto them. They need to walk forward if they
damage,
can.
yeah, but there's no cleanup. No one's even onto Rock yet. No one's on point for the Impostors, and it's all for naught. They're going to lose another one as Inquisition gets sniped down by Poseidon. Enemy heavy on top of the Rock. If that's not BM, I don't know what is. Poseidon winning that SVS late into the fight, and another clean win for the side of Burger Squad. Taking that one. They're down to a minute left on the clock. They are at a pretty sizable disadvantage. It's 30%. If Impostors know about this, they can push up, but Zero with the revolver shots takes down Zoomzy at the brink, and that's
Zero
sad.
just sat. Oh, here comes the bomb. They don't manage to find TJ though. Here comes Bonesaw chasing the back.
Oh,
Wise gets him, and here they are, 3 down inside of Burger Squad, and they're burning. They're all hurt. This could actually be a repush, but it's 30 seconds left. Impostors coming on in clutch time. They really need to. This is do or die right now. They need to win this next push, or they don't get it. Michael and an incredibly tight sideline looking for people on point, but here they're gathering up again, coming out through main. Here comes Brandon. Here comes Zoomzy. Telly comes in, trying to get super aggressive bomb, but now they're down one more player again. But the spawns did also come up for TJ, and so both teams now pretty much taking this fight even. Chalk's all the way forward on Dogbread. This is going to be a slow push. 10 seconds left. Impostors really needs to walk forward. Clearing stickies off the point. Starfruit's going to try to start the cap.
Oh, this Dave.
Dave finds the pick on the KJ. 4 down onto Burger Squad now as Rue all the way across point. Here they come. The aggression finally coming out for Impostors as they just start to cap. Grin all the way across onto point, trying to see what cleanup kills he can get on the back, but nothing, as that's one of the cleanest takes Impostors had so far. Could have been worse, but they do manage to get it, and now they're sitting on 80% Uber.
Yep, off the back of that Dave pick onto the enemy dome, man. We saw Wise as well bomb in onto Cliff and distracted Charizard for a while, so all that lets Impostors get pressure forward. Zoomzy hitting that 100% Uber bomb in from KJ. Oh no!
The drop comes in!
That is so unfortunate for Impostors, as right now they're going to have a small mana to work with. The Brandon also goes down on the tail end. It's going to be long spawns for those two, as Burger Squad are dropping down Pocket here shortly to try and take advantage of this. They only need 1 cap left to take the match.
It's going to be all on Michael, the one player who's still alive. So watching that, Wise bombs in, so much damage, but no kills. But Michael does find the pick off on Poseidon, was sitting on Sniper Rad. As long as they just manage to keep their Sniper alive, they can maybe delay this push out. But here comes the Uber. They're going to walk in. Zoomzy's getting pressure back out. He's on half health. 25 now as BMPD's chasing him, trying to find the kill, but they can't find the kill. Oh, Cleaver in the back onto Zoomzy. Brandon trying to walk forward now, but there's no heals. Can they deny this point? 4 down.
Oh,
no, the cap does finally go down for Burger Squad. 20 seconds left on that final bit. That is GG. 4-3 in the favor of Burger Squad after an incredibly hard-fought, incredibly close match. They pull through with the win, and Impostors now sitting in 1-3, and Burger Squad 3-1 now. Ah, that was tight. That could have gone either way right at the end there.
Zoomzy had so many deaths that were 97% full Uber drops. They were so unfortunate in that last round. Did those both happen the last round, or was one in the second last round?
The drop was only, I think there was only the
drop
one
was
drop.
not, but he had a 97% death earlier. And if those both
sure.
happened, then that cost them the game. Whether or
really
not they just didn't.
but-
So the side effect of not having any forward pressure on point, or like having no one like a spy to call out because Dave plays on their own side, is you don't know when the enemy's walking forward. If you can't call when they're getting ready to bomb from pocket, when they're getting buffs, when their heavy's walking dog bread, your combo is just blind. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to react. And from how the bombs kept working onto Zoomzy, either getting the force or a crucial kill, it really feels like that hurt them in the end.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate for them because, Dave definitely has been switching out. He's been known for being more of a calm spy in the past, so this change to kind of more of an aggressive frag spy, it's definitely punishing them a lot more. And, unfortunately, Michael just not finding the results that they'd like. But Poseidon
Dave's doing
has been
work.
putting
It's just you need someone to do it. You need some information.
Yeah, exactly. But, Poseidon's also putting in such a good game, too. And they were finally finding some time to shut him down, but it looks like it was just too too late. So the win did finally come out in favor of Burger Squad, and it's just a good game to them and well played for them because they did a good job on top of that. So
Are these the combined logs or just the third half logs?
I believe these are the third half log. No, these are combined. That's right. It's too many for a third half.
All right, so we can take a look at these real quick. Poseidon top fragging the server. It's not really a surprise. He was popping off that entire game. And really good performance from him. Inquisition somehow in the end got even DPM to Charizard when he took every Uber except one. So
That's rough.
they might have to go back to the drawing board on that one. Maybe watch some demos from some high invite teams, try and not necessarily imitate their style, but at least find out what's working and what's not with their own gameplay. Because that was just honestly such a big weakness for them. Is unless they found some crazy big sack picks or some crazy Dave combos or Michael PC finally winning an SVS that he wasn't favored in all night, it really felt like their Ubers didn't get any space for them.
Yeah, it's really comes down to the Ubers as well for me. Like they just could not find any ground with most of them. They had a couple flukes it looked like, but really just unfortunately, if they want to take those Uber in, they really need to threaten to kill those players in the back. Make sure that those players take damage and the medics force to flash them because that's the only way you actually force them back up. Sure, you could take a pyro in and try to brute force it by stuffing them back, but then the problem with that is then they're still healthy for post. They're still loaded. They're still already in position, even though that you've like knocked away the front line, the two frontliners. If you don't threaten with them with the damage and threaten to outright kill them, they're still going to be ready for post Uber. And Ubers are all about that post Uber, so it's just really difficult for them when they don't manage to find that space they need.
Yeah, and I do want to point out that off of that win, Burger Squad does have a 3-1 record, which puts them at tied for second place in the league. I would not say anyone fancies them a second place team. You know, you can say they had some probably the easiest scheduling, the easiest strength of schedule so far into the season. They're not like completely bad. You know, obviously they're not bad. They're winning against invite teams, the lower invite teams, so they're at least mid invite. It's whether or not this team's able to actually transfer that success against some of the better teams, which we'll be seeing in the upcoming weeks. It will be very important to them. They have a 3-1 record. It's decent. They have an advantage, but if they really want to make playoffs in that fourth spot, we're going to have to see some improvements from them on the consistency side.
Mm-hmm. And I shout out big performance for KJ. He got picked off a lot by Dave, but he was putting in work. You could see him always forward on that, always spearheading those pushes, putting in a ton of damage. It just seems like they really relied on him, and he pulled through most of those times. So KJ on that demo really getting what his team needs for them to be able to just walk across. Because every time they just walked through that dog bread, it was off of KJ knocking imposters back and having them stuffed back into rock and not peeking stuff.
I just realized that so with this match, we can close it out real quick for this one. It was really just a tale of two sides, honestly. The Ubers were not working from imposters, but their pick classes and sometimes their sacks were working really well. And for Burger Squad, it felt like they knew what they had to do. It's just they were inconsistent with how they did it. And both these teams definitely have a lot to improve on. But Burger Squad, I wouldn't say they're gonna be happy about dropping 3 rounds in a 4-3 win, but they'll take it for the context of their season. And yeah, it's just gonna be interesting seeing where they stand going forward into the season, whether or not we see them in the upper mid echelons or if they end up settling along the mid bottom with imposters eventually. With that though, this match it's pretty done and dusted. We do have some updates from around the league. We mentioned at the first halftime that Candy were actually trailing to Netgraph. They did manage to pull it back in the end, 4-3. Again, not going to be happy with that in the context of their season, but they got the win. I'm gonna go in and talk to them and ask what happened afterwards and probably flame them a bit.
But yeah, so that's one of those, and I think which one was it? I can't remember. Oh yeah, 4-1 for Cuties on product against Refrigerator. So that's
Yeah.
another one of those.
With that,
Have any of the
actually,
matches?
Cuties have a chance at first seed because not they only dropped 1 match point as opposed to Candy's 3, so they're actually going to be in first place
Yeah,
coming into
and
the
they
next
they
week.
could still keep that in too, because Candy were counting on free match points essentially against Netgraph. So
Yeah, even
without that,
if Cuties loses, if they get half the match points of the match, or if it's payload, if they get 1 of 3, then I think they still are ahead of KD. I do believe because the payload rounds are weighted heavier than Koth rounds. I'm not sure how that's
I
going to
no,
work
they
out.
were that was changed a couple seasons ago. I think now like the max you can still get 2-1 off of a 4-3 win. So it's
Okay,
like yeah, so that's been changed for a while. They're weighted pretty much similarly, but yeah,
it's gonna be fun
still
to see by the
Cuties.
end of the season.
Cutie's still definitely in the lead, and they can, with the scheduling, they really can hold on to it. There've been, I'm not sure if there's been any other updates on the rest of the matches. I might have to check the league matches page a little later, but I do believe that is pretty much it for tonight.
Yeah, we do. That's all 3 matches actually, because Momentum Mori got a forfeit win because
Ah,
of the
right. There's the
death
bye
of
week. Yeah,
super
shit.
handsome, intelligent team. This match,
Swearing on this stream.
this match 3-2 or 4-3 Burger Squad, Candy 4-3, Netgraph and Cuties 4-1 against Refrigerator. So those are the results of this week. Interesting how the table is going to shake up in the middle of the season. A lot of teams closer together than they probably should be. A lot of rounds being dropped that a lot of teams are going to probably regret later in the season. And yeah, it's just been an interesting night all around the league so far.
All right, but hopefully these some upsets, some expected, but generally close matches all around, and lots of teams could end up in a lot of places by the end of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see how this week's results translate further into the season. But I do believe that is it for tonight. I've been Flair, Zagron casting with me, and Dolphin on production as always. And thanks for coming by. Hope to see you again next week, and I'll have a good night, fellas.